Welcome to the Yes Show. I'm your host, Christine Trippi. Each week, we'll explore the life-changing power of saying yes, along with hotel leadership made easy. Get ready for inspiration, fun, and sweet hospitality. Let's go. Welcome back, Wise Pineapples. Our guest today is the former SVP of Sales and Marketing for Chartwell Hospitality. And with over 30 years of award-winning success, she now has said yes to becoming an entrepreneur, mentoring others to realize their goals, both in business and the world. She is smart, she's sassy, and she has a heart of gold. Let's welcome to the stage CEO of Walk In It, Amy Broderick. Welcome, Amy. There is so much to dig into here, but I'd like to go way back to when you were in retail sales with Victoria's Secret and you said yes to a big career move that changed your life. Tell us about that.
I was managing a Victoria's Secret in Atlanta, and I had wanted to be in outside sales, but I couldn't find an opportunity. So I was doing inside sales, of course, in retail. And the co-manager of the store, her husband, was in hotels. And the more we hung out with them as a couple and everything else, the more he kept saying, you really need to do hotel sales. You really need to do hotel sales. And I wasn't sure. And I loved hotels. So I'm like, okay, let's see. Well, he finally talked me into taking on a role. And the interesting thing, Christina, is I took a pay cut, if you can imagine it, from retail, taking a pay cut.
Oh, right.
Took a pay cut from managing a store to be a sales coordinator at a Residence Inn by Marriott, and was one of the best decisions I've ever made. Changed the trajectory for my career, and I've loved every minute in the hospitality industry.
I love that you started a Residence Inn. It fits you so perfectly because you just meet Amy and you'll just feel like you're in a warm hug. You're just that
Yay!
For real. You are just a warm hug. And Residence Inn was if I had to guess what brand you started at, it would have been Residence Inn because you have that Residence Inn feeling. Do you have a favorite brand that you've ever worked with?
Well, Residence Inn, I would say I would have to be tried and true to that. So extended stay, any kind of extended stay brand is really what I love because that's where I got my roots in hospitality. So love Residence Inn. And then on the Hilton side of that, I love Homewood and Home2. Love them.
Yes. Again, extended stay properties.
Yes.
Love that. Well, that is a big yes. And it changed changed everything in your life.
It
And
did.
as far as your career goes, I don't know how it impacted your personal life, but that was a huge change. What did you find different when you went from selling inside sales, let's say, to being that gal on the street prospecting outside sales? A lot of operational people, if they're listening right now, the operations people, that scares the hell out of them.
Yes, you're right.
So tell us why we want to do that.
Well, number one, it's just so fulfilling to be able to go out and hunt and kill and find your own business and bring it home. That's kind of what I really wanted to do as far as outside sales goes. But inside sales was so different, and I have to use that experience. I had worked in retail all through college and then right after I got married and then moved to Atlanta. So that for me was the customers that come there are some were very excited to be in the store, and it's so funny, some husbands would stand outside and go, hey, can you just get that one thing because I want to get that for my wife but I don't want to come in, and so it just cracked me up, and then I was like, you know what, instead of having to draw the customers in that way, I want to go find the customers. And so that was really the outside sales portion of just going out, meeting new people, and taking on that daily challenge of somebody's going to tell me no today. Somebody's going to slam a door in my face today. Someone's going to tell me there's a no soliciting sign right there. And I just had to take it as a game and kind of go from there.
That scares the hell out of people. So what is it about you, or what is it someone out there can help build that muscle, I guess, of rejection and whatnot, to be able to put themselves, because I think that is ultimately the reason people that like operators, we're like, no, we just like operating, taking care of our guests. And I think that's the main thing that scares people away. How did you build that resilience?
I would say it's all in the kind of mindset that you take about it. So once you if you're in a rut and you've made like your prospecting calls all day long, and you're getting a bunch of no's, you're getting a bunch of voicemails or anything like that, you got to step away and then come back to it. So instead of just staying there and making yourself miserable and by all the no's, you have to move away, take a breath, go grab a cup of coffee, whatever it is that you need to do, and then come back to it. But you have to come back to it.
Yes.
That's the thing, is a lot of people fill their time with, no, I've taken so many no's today that I don't want to go back to that. I'm just going to find something else to fill the time. I will work on, a proposal. I will create some wonderful flyer, whatever.
Yeah.
But getting back in the saddle is the key, to just staying after it and staying after it.
I would think that for me, that bounce back would be nurturing. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I've had some rejection. That's tough.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna move for 20 minutes and I'm gonna do some nurturing and just
Yes,
love people up.
that's right. That
Because
is
we
right.
love to do that. Yeah, so that's a good idea. Also, I don't know if you've ever seen, there's a great TED Talk. I'm gonna see if I can find that TED Talk and put it in the show notes. And it's about a person who put himself in a position to be basically told no and to fail every single day so that he could build the resilience up to not be afraid of failure. So, anyways,
Mhm.
that was a really good one. I'll see if I can find that for the show notes. Now, Amy, you have over 30 years like me. We're Gen Xers.
Woohoo, that's right.
Over 30 years experience leading successful sales teams. What key leadership principle has guided you through your journey, and how do you shape the way you mentor aspiring sales professionals?
I think authenticity
Mm.
is probably the number one thing for me. And then teaching that resilience and persistence.
Yeah.
So for authenticity, I mean, if for those that have worked with me, if you work with me, you get the whole version of me. That happy, sad, you name it, whatever. I'm going to tell you how it's going that day. But I'll tell you about the things that I don't do well, and I sometimes I struggle with the things that I do well. But for me, it's really just making sure that I connect with a person and we build that trust together through being authentic with them, and they know where they stand at all times as far as leadership goes.
So for
Um,
leadership, it's authenticity, it's relationships. If you
Absolutely.
can do that, you'll be great in sales.
Absolutely. Yes. And customers, I mean, customers want to work with someone who's authentic. They don't want to work with someone who is going to try to sell them something that they don't need. So there were plenty of times where I had to tell someone, hey, I sell premium products and we may not be the best fit for you because I can't touch that rate. And that's part of the process. And when they want that excellent product, they're going to come back to you. So, but they appreciate the honesty with them.
Exactly. And that's exactly what I talk about in Yes is the Answer. That even if I'm not the right hotel or if I'm not the right speaker for that particular event, I'm
Mhm.
always going to bring honesty and because I want the best for my customer. And if this isn't the
Yes.
hotel for you, I'm going to say, yes, let me help you find what's the right hotel for you. Let me
That's
help
right.
you find what the right speaker is for you in this conference. So
Mhm.
that there's always a next yes. I love that. And that's a great
Yes.
quality to have. Fantastic. I love that. Let's dig into the juicy hotel sales best practices. What emerging technologies or trends do you see shaping the future of sales in our industry? And would you advise your clients or our listeners today on how to stay ahead of the curve? Is there anything that's in your vision for what's happening and how to stay ahead of the curve if you're in that sales and marketing role?
Sure. There are all kinds of technical or technology and tools that people can use, and some of those things have to do with prospecting. I mean, there are a million and one new products that come out for that, but they're only as good as how much you use them. So, for example, like Zoom Info, it's a little pricey, but it's a great tool. And
Oh,
so, if a
okay, back
portfolio of
up there
hotels.
on that. Tell me more about Zoom Info.
It tells you a little bit about everything. It tells you all the contacts. It gives you any kind of information that you want to know them as about them, as far as email address, phone number, you name it. It gives you so much information. And we'll narrow it down to all the businesses around you. It's like in our day,
I
Christy,
love that.
it was called Hoovers. Do you remember Hoovers?
I don't remember Hoover's.
Oh my God. Well, okay. That's because sales and ops. Here we go. So,
Yeah.
Hoovers was the tool always told us to use, so you should be able to go to that tool and look, and you'll see every business in a certain building. So Zoom info is like Hoovers on crack. It's crazy, all the info that you can get from it. So,
Now, when
but
you
it's
say Zoom info, are you talking about the Zoom platform that for example, right now we're on? No, okay,
no,
I see. That's why I was like, what is Zoom info? So this is
yep,
a whole
yep,
other platform.
it is.
It can help you to identify contacts and leads and get their information to prospect them. Okay.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Absolutely. Yep. And I recommend that for like portfolios that have a lot of funds and they can split it. It's tough for a smaller company to do that, to buy that product. And then the one I'm testing out right now is called Lucia, and I am just getting used to this one, to kind of see what I think about it. So I love Chat GPT. You name it, I love technology. So I love to, try all these new things and see, okay, what's that one and what does it do? I've got one that Holly Zoba, who's been in the hotel industry for a very long time, she does digital marketing. She recommended one that like tells what the person's personality is as soon as you pull them up. Like so it tells you how to speak with them, and like it cracks me up every time I pull myself up and look at it. It says be direct.
Well,
You
this is
think I'm
so funny.
direct?
I was like, I would like to see what it says about me. Crazy. No,
Yeah, I'll find it and see what it
yeah.
pulls up for
Yeah,
you. But it cracks me up because it
look
is
me
just
up.
seeing, it sees your personality, the whole 9 yards.
That's really good. Some prospecting software, technology software
Mhm.
that's out there. Zoom info. You'll get the name of that one. Lucia is what you're using,
Yes. Hmm.
and it gets you the information. Now, how do you use it? Like, tell me about. Say you're going to do 30 minutes of prospecting. You go into your Zoom info. What would you do, or what would you have your sales and marketing person do, or salesperson do?
Man, you are giving me some softballs today because I want to tell you how I use that for you. So, while I had just gotten the product, and you and I had a discussion about the American Dental Association,
Oh,
and
right.
so I went straight into Lucia, typed it in, and said, "Okay," and it gave me a long list of all the people that are a part of the organization, and so I went and found the appropriate ones that would be the ones that I think that you should reach out to. So I was like, okay, so it's yeah, very practical example. There you go.
Yes, great. And now when you do that, because today
Mhm.
you can't get someone on the phone. So
True.
for you, is it all email? Do you try to text? Do you try, unless I have a relationship, I don't try to go that way. That's me. But
Mhm.
I'm more of the laid back salesperson.
Right.
What
Well,
would you recommend for that salesperson?
yep, the hunter and killer in me is going to say, drag it home with me, is going to say, first you try that email and tell them who you are. And it depends on the level of the person that you're speaking with. If it's a COO, you're going to be short and sweet and to the point,
Yeah.
and then tell them some numbers that you can produce for them. And then if they don't respond in like a week, I am the person that's going to pick up the phone. So I'm going to call that person, and we all have heard about that level of executive typically comes in early. And so you can usually catch them the first part of the morning instead of waiting until they're in the middle of their day. And then, you just got to stay persistent. I had one customer that it took me 6 months of once a week reaching out to her. And I'm like, she's going to inevitably, she's going to call me back. I know she is.
Mhm.
So I would call, I would email, and then I would drop by and leave something for her. Call, email, drop by something, leave for her. And finally, she returned my call after 6 months and became one of the best customers I ever had.
Isn't that great? See, it's about the persistence. I have got a great story to share. Um, there's someone in my Crown Society who she runs a sales team, and the toughest thing she has motivating her leaders to do is prospecting. So taking something that we do in the Crown Society, she said, oh my gosh, this is a great idea. And she had all of her leaders every single week, they join a call to group prospect. So
Mm,
everyone comes with their list ready of who they're going to
mhm,
prospect,
mhm.
and they all join in on Zoom. They have their cameras open, but their mics are muted, and they do the prospecting all together. And then they have
Love
like a
it.
little recap afterwards. And their very first one that they did, they I can't remember the stats offhand right now, but they had X amount of leads. They booked $28,000 in
Mhm.
business that first 15-minute prospecting. So
Yes.
that was a good one because again, if you have a team that is maybe it takes more motivation to get them to do that instead of the follow up and whatnot. Maybe just doing it, making it a little bit more safe, a little
Yep.
bit more less alone. That's a great way to
Agreed.
start evolving. Or even if you've got general managers or AGMs that you want helping to close business, that might be a great way to do that too. Yeah, I love that.
Oh, absolutely. The more you can get team environment, and then, people feed off that. So when they see someone else be successful of, oh my gosh, I actually got this person on the phone, then they get more excited about it. And okay, I'm going to try it. It's going to be good.
Yes.
So it just, that synergy is wonderful.
So now you have moved on, and let's talk about this latest huge yes that you have. Walk in It was inspired by a beautiful moment with you and your granddaughter. Tell us more about behind the meaning of that, how it happened, and what sparked the vision for your new adventure.
Absolutely. So, my daughter, I have two granddaughters now. They're both beautiful, of course, and that's my opinion. My granddaughter Henley is two, and she went to my closet. She pulled out this box that I have of my favorite blue shoes, and she put those shoes on. And it's the first time she had ever put on heels at my house, anyway. She put those shoes on, hands on the hips, and sister knew exactly what to do. Walked straight down the hall, just prancing everywhere. And at that moment, it was kind of a light bulb to say, you know what? We have these talents and skills that are already built in us, and we just have to know how to use it. And we have to trust that they were given to us for a reason, and to just rest in those and to walk in those. And that's exactly what she did. She didn't have any fear of falling. She didn't have any fear of, oh my goodness, I may break my neck along the way, or whatever, or how she looked or anything else. She was just so excited to be in those shoes. So that is really what inspired it. And thinking about Walk in It, again, just making people, I have to say it really slow because I talk fast anyway. And so when I say walk in it, people think, what did you just say? So I have to say walk in it. Um, but that is really just all about those God-given talents and skills and abilities that you have, and using those the way they were designed to be used.
What are you doing in this new venture? Tell us more about that.
So it's consulting and coaching both. So my dream actually is to be able to mentor like middle level managers that want to move into those director of sales roles, or they want to move into a VP of sales roles, or commercial leaders. I really want to mentor that type of person to help them know what kind of skills are that they will need for that, and then how to use those skills and really level those up
Mhm.
to get to that role. So that's one side of it. The other side is consulting, or what some people are calling it fractional these days, however you want to describe it. And that's really, I give a good example. I went out to for a company called Vision Hospitality, who's
Mhm.
good friends, and they were gracious enough to say, "Hey, go take a look at this market and tell us what you think about the sales process there and how it should work." And that's really where I thrive. That was my sweet spot and what I did before. And what I really love to do is go, oh, okay, here's what our current efforts are. Here are kind of our stop gaps of, what is causing us to not sell the way that we should, or to bring in those customers. And then here's what I think you need to do about it. So just being able to come in and do that. I love that, both for hospitality industry or any others.
Mhm.
Um, and then teaching. So I love to see the light bulb go off for people when they are learning how to any new skill or anything else. So one of my favorites was, it was called stat training with Marriott.
Oh,
I don't
yes,
know if you remember stat
I
training,
do.
but
Mhm.
what I loved about it was the people that came to that class were more on the ops side. And so they were, front office and front office managers and that type of thing. But when the light bulb went off to them that, oh, we could be salespeople too. We just need to give this name to the sales team, and we just need to ask a few more questions. And watching that go, wow, I mean, they've just enhanced their career. They've opened up their mind to this new career path that, I may like this. It may not scare me so much after I do it a
Right.
couple of times. And that's my favorite part. So teaching things like that is really a passion of mine as well.
Well, let's go back to what you're talking about going into a region or a market and being able to say, boom, 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 here's where you can move the needle. What
Sure.
would you say are 3 tips that any listener right now can say about go into their market or their hotel comp set, if you will, and say, you know what are 3 things they should look at? Or what's that strategy that you kind of help guide you to identify how you can move the needle and do something that you're not doing?
Right. One of the first things that I see, it's been everywhere that I've gone to so far, is really time. So that time management piece of, number one, what are you spending the majority of your time on? So I really do some, evaluate that a little bit. Is it that you're getting so many leads coming in that you don't have time to prospect?
Right.
Which is, I see that everywhere right now, because some of those leads take so long. So, or they don't have systems in place to help them get through that process quickly. The cheat sheet templates of, oh, do I have an email template that fits that type of business that I've already used before that I can just pick back up and use again quickly?
Mm-hmm.
So not having those processes in place is a big one. And then just time management of, I call it love the one you're with. If you mark off on your calendar that you're going to prospect between 10 and 12 that day, prospect between 10 and 12 that day. Honor your calendar. You wouldn't miss a meeting with your COO, your CEO, or your direct report. You wouldn't do that. So, and if this time that you've set apart is the time that's going to make both you as well as your company successful, then don't put that meeting off. Show up, make it happen.
Yes.
So those are probably the biggest things that I see.
And is there anything market wise, like just how you go into like being a consultant, not knowing an area that you
Mhm.
might be hired to help
Right.
with? What would be your first uh, thing you do in the market to identify what opportunities are there? What's your thought on that?
Sure. I'm going to drive the lay of the land, of course, to see what all is around and see what industries are there. So that's usually what I do before I even show up on property. I've done my research online. I've looked at, top producers for in the market, and not just, and a lot of that, I mean, I have because I don't have the access to those at the property yet, but you can look at the top companies and go, that one probably travels, that one doesn't, especially when you've done it as long as we have. Evaluate all those things first, drive the market to see, what's your curb appeal, what's your, how many competitors are in your backyard, what do they have you don't have. So really take a look at that and do the old fashioned SWOT of,
Yes.
what's important, what strengths do we have, what are our threats, where are we just not functioning the way that we should be functioning. And really that's helpful because, we get what I call snowblind. Someone used that term with me when, during my GM days, they would say when an inspector goes out to a room, a lot of times they get snowblind because they're in them every day and they don't see that the lampshade is, on crooked or whatever, whatever else. Same happens with salespeople. We get in the market and we get snowblind. We don't see all these other things.
Right.
So just really looking at that first, to see, what demand generators could come in, and then try to figure out by looking at tons of data. What do they have? What are we missing? And how can we get more of what we need?
So, what would be one of your go-to resistance statements when someone says, "No, I don't need that," or "No, I'm not interested"?
Mm. Well, the important part, I think, for any salesperson, and in life in general, because I would tell you this applies to everything in life, is to ask better questions. So, and ask more questions because we see, I mean, I've learned some of these things from you, Christine, just like especially in your class, just asking questions about what did you enjoy the most about service. Then you're getting much more specific information. So then you can find out they're not just telling you no, there's a need or something out there that you're not meeting. And so you've not asked enough questions probably at that point. Stay curious about other people, other people's stories. I mean, you never, ever know when you're going to find a lead, you're going to ask the right question, and you're going to get this juicy nugget of information back from them on how you can improve.
If you are leading from the heart, which is something I talk about endlessly, if you're leading from the heart, and I know that you do, you want to solve people's problems.
Yes.
So if you start with your benefits, you remember the stat training from years ago, or
yes,
teacher puked everything.
NBF, that's right.
Yes.
Yes.
If you keep talking about your benefits and what you have and how much experience you have, that doesn't interest people. What interests people are their problems. So even when I have someone call me for a keynote, one of the first things I say is, what is your portfolio working on this year? What is it what are you struggling with? And then I try to customize what they need from what their problems are. And instead of here's what I'm good at, or here's what I like to do, I what do you need? And I think that when you start from the heart, really wanting to serve people and help them, that's going to take you a long way. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and think about for like just the example that you talked about of an operations person who thinks sales would scare them. Think about all the questions and all the things that the feedback that you want from your guests, from, GSS and SALT, if they're still calling it that these days. I mean, they're giving you that feedback already, and that's what you need to be successful. It's the same thing in sales. They need to tell you what their needs are, what their pain points are for you to be able to meet that need.
Yeah.
So
it wasn't until for me, I always had a major block in sales. I was like, no, I want to serve the people, not push them. I remember saying that back in my early days. And it wasn't until I realized that sales is service because our product can help them. Then everything changed for me once I saw it as a service and not as a smarmy car dealer.
That's right. That's
dealer.
right. Exactly what it is. Exactly.
I love that. I could talk to you forever. You know how much I love you so much. But we need to keep moving on because I'm ready to have some fun with you, Amy.
Woohoo!
What is the last thing you said yes to on your bucket list?
Mainly doing what I've done. And unfortunately, it's been like what, eight weeks or 9 months, or I don't know how long, but taking the step to do my own thing. And to step out and be my own boss in the whole 9 yards. That was on my bucket list.
And that's so much courage. You had a high level position with an amazing management company. I think I can just say that, Chartwell Hospitality.
Absolutely.
They're awesome.
They are awesome.
You loved your position, but you knew there was something more you wanted to give. And I can relate to that. And so you did you left without even knowing what that was, so that you can give yourself the time and space to figure that out.
It was a big bucket, and man, I've been rolling around that bucket and tossing it, and I also have this called that bucket, and it could be a chuck it bucket, as I like to call it. I've got that idea stuck today, so I'm gonna just put it in a chuck it bucket. But it was a big thing on my list, and I did it. And so not that I want to encourage everybody to leave their jobs, but if you have something on your heart that you're like, I need to learn more. I need to do something different and pour into people a different way. It's a learning process being an entrepreneur, as you know, which would be one of the reasons why I called you and relied on your wisdom so much. And because you're so stinking positive 24/7. And so that, we all need someone like that. We all need an encourager. And so that's what I want to be to other people. I know you are that to so many people. And that's what I wanted to give back to others.
Yes. And you're already doing it and doing it so well. Is there something on your bucket list next that you want to say yes to?
I want to say yes to my bucket list of traveling more. I traveled so much with business, but And then I wanted to take a little break from travel because just, have grandbabies and everything else. But I want to go somewhere with just my husband. All my kids are finally grown, and we are it's experiencing empty nester this year. And so I want to spend some time with him and, get to know him all over again. And just, in a week from Sunday, 34 years of marriage.
Wow.
So.
Wow. Now, on the show, I asked my previous guest to give me a question to ask my next guest. Keep it exciting, keep it different. And you're lucking out. You've got a really easy one.
Okay, let's hear it.
My last guest, Don Barnett, he wanted to ask the next guest, what book are you reading right now? Or what is a great leadership book that you recommend?
Ooh. Well, one of the great things is I have read so many over this past year. It's something I didn't have time to do so much of before. So I just like devoured them. I just got this in the
How Will You
mail.
Measure Your Life? Oh,
Mhm.
okay. The book is called
Yep.
How Will You Measure Your Life, and who wrote it?
Clayton Christensen, James Allworth, and Karen Dillon. And it's really just about how to balance that, doing great things in your work, but also applying that to your life and not making work everything in your life. Just make sure that we take the time to separate work and what we like to do or what we're passionate about outside of work, and to remember that we need to find that balance.
Yeah, it's so important. What question do you have for our next guest?
Okay, because it's something that I'm very passionate about, I would say, when was the last time that you went to a networking activity?
Oh,
And how many people did you meet?
okay. Let's actually talk about that a little bit.
Sure.
You are really big on networking and you give a lot of great advice. I know the last time I talked with you, that was a great takeaway that I came away from our conversation. Tell us a little bit more about your saying yes to networking.
Yes. So I think the further that we get in our career, so many times we put networking on the back shelf because we're like, I need to teach other salespeople how to do that, and they need to go to this event and that type of thing. But we forget that our professional network is the best place for so many things. One is just to get wisdom from others that have walked a path before you have. And they have great ideas. They're able to share that with you. It's a great way to get referrals for any new business, but especially for a salesperson to be able to get that. But it helps you stay curious. It helps you stay or wanting to just gain knowledge from something. And so I encourage others to get out there and just meet people. And I think we have this fear sometimes, or companies, let's say, have this fear sometimes that networking means they're trying to find another job. They're trying to find someone else who can level them up. So not what networking is all about. And I think that's a very narrow-minded way to look at networking. I want to raise salespeople, and I hate to use it, I probably shouldn't use that term, but I want salespeople to be out there meeting someone who can teach them a unique skill, or they've experienced some huge challenge in sales, and they can talk to this person about it. It's so good to just get a different perspective of things. Oh yeah, well, I hadn't tried that, or whatever. But again, just staying curious, that it keeps those questioning skills that we all need, being curious about things, to learn more and to make your brain work a different way, and to always ask the why. So
Yes.
I always tell people, you got to have a goal in networking. You can't, it's not to just go and have drinks with someone
Right.
or go and say that you attended. I mean, you should be doing like what they taught us in old school sales, pre-call planning. Who do I need to meet with? Who else is going to be there? Like when I do a webinar on LinkedIn, I go look and see, okay, who else is going to be on here? Oh, okay, that's a good connection. I wonder what she has to say about this. So I do a lot of research before I go, and then know the ones, like if it's a person I've been trying to get in touch with, I'm going to try to find somebody in advance to introduce me. So, just making sure that you use it for what it's meant to be used for, rather than I'm just going to go so I can say I went and it was a networking event and I'm going to have a couple glasses of wine.
I love this conversation. I love you so much. So tell everybody where else people can learn more about what you do and where they can connect with you because you're just an amazing human being.
Oh, thank you, thank you. And I feel the same about you. For me, you can go to walkinit.net, not .com. Go to .net, like fishing net that you're going to catch new leads in.
I like that.
And there you go. Well, guess where I got that? You.
Oh.
When we were talking at the very beginning about my business, yep, I came from
I
you.
love
So
knowing that.
yes, yes. So net. Anyway, I'll tell you all about it. And then I'm offering a special right now as well. So I have a couple of different packages that I offer. And so if someone will mention that they heard about me on your Yes podcast, then they will get 20% off.
Oh, that's amazing.
Woohoo!
Yeah. Woo woo. Hey, that's fantastic. And I'll put all of that in the show notes too for anybody. Plus, connect with Amy on LinkedIn. That's
Yes,
a
please.
great place to be connecting in general, but definitely connect with Amy on LinkedIn. She's always sharing juicy information. Now, Amy, I love for people to not just get inspired and have a lot of energy from these conversations, but
Mhm,
energy times execution equals your sweet results. I want them to
mhm,
say yes to the great ideas that you shared. So
mhm.
let's just summarize maybe 3 ideas that we kind of talked about. What would you say are 3 takeaways for people to go and take from this episode? Number 1, networking. Today, before the end of
Yes,
the day, I would say plan to attend a networking event.
absolutely.
Okay, number 2, what
Absolutely.
do you think is the top takeaway?
Staying curious and asking more questions.
Thinking about
Mhm,
your next person you're going to call or reach out to, or even the next inbound inquiry,
mhm.
focusing on them, better questions, and staying curious about their business, their problems, their situation. That I
Yes.
love that. And 3, what do you think number 3 is?
Maybe a SWOT analysis of really stepping away from it. Yeah, oh, yeah, stepping away from it and letting someone else do that for you. And that could be, I mean, honestly, could use the people inside your own hotel of um, because you have a mindset that you've developed of here's what things are like. But sometimes if you'll go to one of your front office team members, or if you'll go to one of your housekeeping people, they see things so differently. So ask them the questions. What do you think our strongest points are? What do you think about this? And you will get some of the best answers ever by doing that. So you don't have to make it, a big deal by, sure, people like me would love the business as a consultant. However, you can get a lot of great information from the people that are right there at your hotel.
Yes, yes. Even if you go to your huddles and ask your team
Mm,
members. And I even have for my Crown Society a bingo card to do for the salespeople to do at Huddle and make it a competition. And if a team member brings a wedding lead or a new construction
ooh,
lead, or
mhm.
and they can win bingo. So that's
That
fun.
is right.
Yes.
Yeah, see, you
So
made it
our
fun.
Yes, exactly. So our 3 tips from today's episode is
Mhm,
1, by the end of the day, schedule a networking event and create a goal for it.
mhm.
Stay curious and ask better questions and
Yes.
do a SWOT analysis. Well, Amy, I always love being in your company. Thank you so much for joining us. And I can't wait till our next conversation.
Thank you very much. All right.
That's a wrap for today's show. Say yes to taking action and changing the world one yes at a time. And oh, my friend, will you say yes to review, like, and subscribe? The more yeses you give, the more juicy goodness I can bring to all of you wise pineapples. Cool or cool?